Hello, my name is Father Gardner, and I'm one of the chaplains for Adelante. And one of the common questions about Adelante is maybe why the priests are not in charge of Adelante. Well, it's a great question because we don't see a lot of that. And this is a great example of a lay apostolate. So the laity run this apostolate with the guidance of the priests to get them to that point. Albert and Joanna Dirachi are the senior guides for Adelante, and then there are some other junior guides that work with them as well. But the role of the priest in this is to give spiritual guidance for them. We do guidance outside of this program throughout the year for the guides to grow themselves in their spiritual life and in their doctrinal formation. But on the pilgrimage this year, or the expedition that we do in Idaho, the role of the priest is, of course, the sacraments, giving Mass, communion, spiritual instruction, chance to meet and talk with these priests individually. But the role of the guides especially is to lead the discussions and to form a bond with the participants of the program, one-on-one, so that they can step into that role of being a mentor for them afterwards. Now, this works very well in this program, but it's also a model of how well the laity can work hand in hand with the priests in all sorts of apostolates. When the laity are well formed and they're well guided, they can really be kind of a force multiplier for what the priest does. Another example of this, we have people who have gone through Adelante and are now working on other apostolates completely different than Adelante, but on the same model, that you have laity, very well formed, good spiritual life, rock solid that way. Now they go off with the guidance of the priests and they can take initiative on their own. And that just multiplies the effectiveness of what we can do. I think one reason why we chose the California missions is that this is a historical example of how the laity and the clergy can work hand in hand on the conversion of a whole people. So when these Catholic missionaries went into, California and these other places that we've seen them go, we often have this idea of this kind of single robed missionary walking off into the desert, but that's not how it worked. These missionaries were going into very dangerous places, and often the natives in these places were not friendly at all, and they would very often kill the priests that were coming out to help them. So whenever these Spanish missionaries were going out into Southern California, or what they called Alta California, they were moving along with the Spanish army, and they were setting up forts, and they were protecting them, and without them, they didn't move into a new area. And I think it's a great example of how the SSPX has grown. You don't have SSPX priests who, put on their tool belts and go build churches for us. It's the laity who build the churches. We don't have any priests who have built our churches. The laity are the ones who do all of that. And without that work, supporting the priests, we wouldn't have the SSPX. It certainly wouldn't be as it is. So that work of the laity hand in hand with the priests, each in our own proper sphere, is very effective and can allow us to reach a lot more souls.